The Zone Coverage Podcast Network.
Turn it up. Welcome back for another episode of Midwest Swing Pod. I'm your host, Mike Berardino. Great to be with you again. Tom Schreier on the controls. And this week, we have a very special guest in the studio. But first, we'll tell you that we are part of the Zone Coverage Podcast Network. And we invite you to download Midwest Swing Podcast on iTunes or on any of your favorite podcast apps. We're on Spotify as well. Be sure to leave a review, only positive reviews. Thank you. So joining me in the studio, Tom and I here in the studio, is the great Wayne Hattaway. You probably know the name. You certainly know the face. And we're going to get all the way into the legend of Big Fella. Welcome, sir.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. So we're going to start off, I guess, maybe give folks a little bit of background. This is year number what for you in baseball?
Altogether 66, but 55 with the Minnesota Twins organization.
Wow. And where does that place you? As far you're kind of like tied with Tony Oliva or so for the longest serving Twin employee?
Right. I had Tony his second year of baseball, but first year that I met him in AAA. He was in the rookie ball when for me.
Wow. And Jim Rance would have been in that range too?
Yeah, he came in about the same time, but he didn't. He was in Dallas. He was in Denver, because Denver was at AAA about 2 years later. So
you are I call you clubhouse legend whenever we tweet about you or write a story about you. But how would you describe over the years? We were talking on the ride over. I mean, you even had a period of time where you were doing some training, where you were an unofficial team trainer. Tell folks about that. And what years were those? In
1964, I went. Well, for 63, I was with the Twins in Dallas as a clubhouse guy. I go to Charlotte, North Carolina, AA. I started out as a clubhouse guy, but then the owner wanted me to be a trainer too. So in 64, I got to be the trainer.
And you had no formal qualifications?
Not really, because I learned so much in the Southern League in Mobile.
Sure.
Under trainers from other teams who was real good trainers. So I learned instead of going to school through them guys.
So, and you did this all the way up into the 80s, right?
Up to 80, 94, until they said you got to be certified.
And what do you think? Did you ever have any? What's maybe a story from your trainer days? Pitchers always coming in with sore arms. What would you do to get them back on the mound?
Well, nobody came in sore arm in them days. We just rubbed their arms down with a little alcohol, maybe some hot stuff before they go out with Burt Blyleven and some of them guys.
The icy hot or whatever, huh? That would get them back out there.
Right.
What do you think your best example of being what was your finest moment in training history? Did you fix any knees or?
Well, we had a shortstop, Lenny Fiedo. He had a bad ankle, so I tried to tape it. I taped it so big he couldn't even walk because it was so tight. So I had to loosen it up.
He was able to keep the foot.
Yeah.
His son went on and pitched very well at the University of Florida, and now is in the Tiger system, I believe.
Is he?
Alex,
I didn't know that.
Big sucker.
Yeah,
Throws the
I've
heck
heard
out of
rumors that his brother.
Yeah.
Well, I hope his son is better than he was.
This is how you become a clubhouse legend, and this brings me to. Well, my next point. Well, first thing is tell the folks how old you are. How old are you now?
78 years old.
78. When's your birthday?
February 24th.
That's right. It's always spring training. You always get a big cake down at spring training.
Usually, except for the last 3 years when I didn't go down there.
Yeah.
I missed. I went to 54 straight spring trainings.
Wow.
It was a record.
Yeah, that's crazy. So the next spring you'll be 79.
Yeah.
And you fully intend to keep going, right? You want to come back in 2019?
At least I want to make my 80th anniversary, birthday. So it'll be a special birthday.
So you have the ability to make it fun. You go into a clubhouse.
It's
fun.
Win, lose, or draw. I just tell them how good they ain't anyway. So
and this is where you probably heard this, but I remember we asked Terry Ryan, and Terry's in town here scouting again. Now he's with the Philadelphia Phillies, but great Twins executive for all those years. Terry would call you the director of team morale.
Yeah,
you've
right.
heard that, right?
Him and Steve Little.
Yeah.
He's a coach with Detroit
right.
now.
That's right. And what do you think of that title? Do you think that's applies?
That's good. I mean, I don't care what they call me. As long as it's good for dinner.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes if team morale, people would think, well, that just means be positive and puff them up all the time and tell them how great they are. But you don't do that. Who's the guy you're telling me couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat? Who was that?
Torrey Hunter.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
And what would he say when you tell him that?
He just laughed at me because we go way back to the day he was signed to the day he quit. Or not quit, but retired.
Yeah, that was great to have him come back. And now he's part of the organization as a special assistant and a broadcaster. Right. And we have a little bobblehead. You can't see it on this podcast, but we're still working on the video version of this podcast. But we have Torrey right here, and he's nodding. He agrees with your story.
He's a good guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're not wearing your hat today. You have a great collection of cowboy hats, I believe.
Yeah.
And tell me how you got started wearing the hats.
Well, that's when I was in Dallas.
Okay.
I was the Dallas-Fort Worth Rangers, so I always got me a cowboy hat. And, I didn't go on road trips there, but I always wore my cowboy hat when I joined the Twins organization.
Okay, and that became kind of your signature, right? You got, I mean, to see you without your hat, that's like seeing Dwight Yoakam without his hat, right?
Well, every time we went to Dallas, the ball club, certain ball players would buy me boots, shirts, and cowboy hat. I must have 10 or 12, but I lost some down the road.
You got some cool bolo ties too, right?
Yeah.
Now, what do you have a particular favorite hat? Is there one that's do you have a lucky hat?
The last hat I had, and I lost it, George Strait.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he had a black hat, so I wore it. When I was in Texas, I've been asking for a George Strait, and they finally got me one the last year I traveled with the team.
And you lost it?
Yeah, I lost it somewhere. I don't know where it was.
Or is there somebody took it and sold it on eBay or something?
They might have done that.
Yeah. What's your favorite George Strait song?
All My Girls Lives in Texas.
So we played Sweet Home Alabama coming in here because to be around the big fella. And by the way, who gave you the nickname Big Fella?
Well, I actually call myself that because we have so many ball players in spring training with 180 every year for the last 40 years I worked. I couldn't remember names, so I just called everybody Big Fella, so that's what they come back with the same thing. How you doing, Big Fella?
And it gets shortened to Biggin now, or Big E.
Yeah,
that's the rap world. Big,
right.
So it's really you can accommodate whatever people want to be called.
Oh yeah.
And so really, if there's 35 Twins in there right now, you know about 3 names. No.
Maybe if I'm smart, I get.
I'm joking.
But I don't know.
I'm joking there. So we played Sweet Home Alabama because you grew up in Mobile, right?
Mobile, Alabama.
You were born there?
1940.
Wow. What is one of your earliest baseball memories and growing up in Mobile? Mobile is well known for sending greats to the Hall of Fame. Only St. Paul now has 3, and Joe Mauer we think eventually will be 4, but Mobile has more.
Well, if it is, I don't know where they're at. They keep saying, Dick Breimer says, Mobile, and the guy that runs Hall of Fame says, Mobile's got the most. I've been there, 75 years off and on, and I can't remember but 2.
Yeah. Well,
Hank Aaron,
and McCovey?
I didn't think Willie was born there, but maybe he was. Okay. Somebody said he was. But
Who else do you count?
Ozzie Smith.
Of course, Ozzie Smith. Yeah,
but he was only there 3 days anyway.
He had moved away as a youngster. Yes,
I would too.
Yeah. But you still go back. I
go back. I probably once I retire, which could be any day or anywhere. But once I go,
that's where you'll make your home.
Yeah.
I've been to Mobile. That's the place where they have the Senior Bowl, and so the NFL people come in every late January.
Yeah.
Are you there for the Senior Bowl?
No,
sometimes?
I'm always in Florida somewhere. It's
Okay.
either spring training or fancy camp or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You go down to Fort Myers for fantasy camp. Those have really gotten to be a big deal. But Alabama, do you have an early memory? What do you think when you think back, going back to the 40s, maybe the 50s, and you started out as a bat boy early on. Who was one of the first baseball players to be good to you?
Don Zimmer, of course. That was back 1952.
Wow.
And then I still recognize him today. He passed away here.
Yes. Zimmer ended up, obviously going on to playing for the Dodgers, Brooklyn Dodgers, played in the Twin Cities and was beaned while in the Twin Cities, I believe. And then goes on to become a manager, and then really toward the end, a great bench coach for Joe Torre. Those championships don't happen without that. Now, Zimmer had the plate in his head the whole time.
I think he had it for 50 years.
Yeah, not the whole night. Wasn't born with it, but he nearly died from a beating because they didn't wear the batting helmets back then. You can remember baseball when they didn't wear batting helmets.
No, all they had protection was their real hat.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Did you used to joke with Zimmer about having a plate in his head? Did you ever do that?
No, but I did. I used to. When I had him, he weighed about 160 pounds.
That's right, yeah.
And then when he got up to Tampa or Yankees, he weighed about 300. I said, "What'd you do? Eat all the meal money that they gave you?"
He did not get cheated. Yeah, he was a St. Paul Saint in 1953.
Yeah, he was with us in '52. Went straight to AA. I mean, from AA to AAA, which is good. You can't do that now. I mean,
no. And he played Mobile '52. Yep. 153 games that year. Hit .310. He was a little pepper pot.
Yeah.
Infielder. He could play around. Don Zimmer. Who else, when you think back to the early days, the Mobile days, anybody else, like you said, those teams struggled in Mobile? What were they called back then? Let's see.
Mobile Bears.
They were the Bears. Because now they're like the Bay Bears. Yeah.
The only guy that made the big leagues, but not with the Dodgers, Norm Larker, Larker. He went to San Francisco, I believe, or something like that.
I see that the manager of the '52 Mobile Bears was Ed Head.
Yeah,
There's no jokes in that one. So then you go. How long were you with the Mobile club then?
I was there until 1961 when the league folded.
Okay.
And I was the first trainer the New York Mets had. Nobody knows, but that was just spring training.
Really?
We had a spring training in Mobile. The AA team.
Oh, wow. The horrible Mets.
Yeah.
There's 120 loss Mets.
Yeah, but
Casey
we had
Stengel.
3 outfielders from Mobile.
Wow. Tommy Agee?
Amos Otis.
Yeah.
There's one. I know there's one more.
Well, so you were doing trainer work then.
Yeah.
So you were telling me before maybe you started trainer at 64, but you even earlier. This might explain a lot about why that Mets team was so bad.
Well, we didn't. That's true. But what I mean is, in them days, it was spring training. We didn't have no real Mets. They was called the Mets.
Yes.
But we didn't have no all these.
Oh, okay. Before they actually a year
guys,
before. Yeah.
Yeah. We was getting guys off of the streets and everything else. We only had 15 ball players. We had to put them. Ernie White was the manager, and he had to put his name on the list because you had to have so many ball players, and we didn't have that many. We only had 15 ball players, and they was all over 35.
Wow.
We didn't.
Basically like replacement ball. Yeah.
We lost 105 games.
In the minors.
Yeah.
You only play 140, right?
We were lucky to win them.
They didn't suit you up then, did they?
No.
But they probably could have, and no one would have
when
noticed.
the season started, I went to the Virgin Clubhouse. I met some big league ball players.
That year in the early 61?
Whatever year
it
was.
Must have been the
last
year before, yeah.
Yeah. We had one guy with the Little Rock Travelers who's in the Hall of Fame now, Pat Gillick.
Oh, yes.
And I seen him again about 3 or 4 years later in the Hall of Fame. He said, "Wayne, I made the big leagues." I said, "Not because of your pitching. It must have been because you was a general manager for the Phillies."
That's right. He was a big left-hander. He played at USC. Yeah. Gillick, everywhere he went, he won. Yeah. So he remembered you.
Yeah.
Gillick has a nice collection of cowboy hats too. You see in boots.
Right.
Has he ever complimented you on?
No, when I had
give each other
when I
fashion
seen him,
tips.
he had just a baseball uniform. In them days, they had dungarees, and he was only like 20 years old then.
It's possible that through his career, maybe because he was from California.
Oh, is that way?
That maybe he took his style cues from you, from being around you, because Gillick, Western shirts and everything. So, all right, so now we're into the 60s. And did you, along the way, when it was not baseball season, what sort of jobs did you have?
I never had a job in my whole life except baseball.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you ever offered a job besides baseball?
No, I worked my rear end off to get to the big leagues, and it took me to lose my eyesight to get to the big leagues.
Wow.
And Gordy and Stelmagic and Terry Ryan got me up to the big leagues.
In 2002.
Yeah,
yes.
Right.
We want to get to that because that's an awesome culmination of all those years. But so there was enough work in those days, even in the off season, to be around the park.
Yeah.
And to continue to get things ready for.
I either went to the instructional league or work around the ballpark in Charlotte. We had to fix our own stadium, so in the winter of for about 5 years we worked in the ballpark in Charlotte.
So you would do some grounds crew work too, you think?
Well, I did everything.
Yeah. If
when
it
I went
needed
to
be
Melbourne,
done.
when I went to Melbourne, we go down in January to fix the field in Melbourne, and me and the AAA trainer took care of the fields too.
We're talking with Wayne Big Fella Hattaway, legendary clubhouse presence of the Twins, and a man who's done it all in baseball. Fifth year number what again in baseball? This is how many years?
55 with the Twins and 66 and everything.
So that's staying power, folks, right there. We got plenty of things we could get to, but this Mobile, before we leave Mobile, the number of your friends in the game are putting your name in there for Mobile Sports Hall of Fame. I've heard Dan Jennings of the Washington Nationals, a former manager and longtime scout. He's kind of heading that push. What would that mean for you to be inducted into something like that in your hometown?
That would be an honor, really. I was I was wishing, but if it comes down to reality, I'll be grateful and love it.
I can't think of anything better than your hometown,
that's right.
Immortalizing you. Would you make a speech?
Well, if they let me, but if they don't, I still make my own.
Can they censor it? That's the key.
I make my own speech.
Well, Tom, you haven't had to beep anything out yet.
No,
so far,
I'm proud. I'm happy.
Big fella's, he's keeping it for a family show. We're doing great with that. Alabama football. Let's cycle over to that real quick, and then we'll come back to baseball. But one of your favorite topics, of course, especially in the last decade, has been the dominance of Alabama football. And I know you used to give Josh Willingham, who was an Auburn fan, right?
No, he's an Alabama fan.
Oh, he was? Okay.
Yeah.
You'd give him a hard time. Well, you would talk Alabama, and then you had Dozier in there, but Southern Miss, and anybody. And now you got Tyler Austin. I see talking.
Yeah,
he's
I
a
gave
kid
him
from Georgia
the other day.
He's a Georgia fan, probably, right?
Yeah, no, he's a Florida State fan.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yeah, and I told him when we played.
Well, you had Arkansas State the other day.
Yeah.
What was that about? Yeah, what were you guys talking about?
We had a bet, and he said we were playing some rinky-dink team. I said, yeah, but I said we've scored 30 points in the first half. He says, no way. He says, I bet you would this and that. And we scored 40 points in the half, and I was surprised by that because I didn't think they would, do that good. I mean, they couldn't do good, but they might sit on.
It was Arkansas State. Yeah.
So they scored the 40 points with 2 minutes left to go in the first half.
Isn't that where Torrey Hunter's son played? One of them?
Yeah, Money.
Yeah,
yep, that's right.
Yeah, he played for Arkansas State, and he's playing college football. I mean, pro football in the Canadian football league.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Because one son played at Notre Dame.
Torrey Jr.
Well,
played at Notre Dame.
I used to tell him about the Notre Dame boy.
Yeah.
Because Notre Dame boy, he was on red shirted, but he's still on the team. We beat Notre Dame, 56-28 or something.
Oh yeah.
But the game was over in 2 plays.
Yeah. I'm familiar.
I covered that game, and yes, that was brutal. Yeah, that was
two running plays. The guy that run did it was he plays with the Saints. Two runs, and the game was over.
So you like to talk smack there about the Tide, and you let them know just and also I think guys come to you, they hear you talk about Kenny Stabler. You talked about you were around Kenny Stabler times, the late Kenny Stabler, Hall of Fame quarterback, or if they Bear Bryant, you can set them straight and tell them about the greatness of Alabama football. How much fun is that? And I love it. There's something about a college football Saturday in a baseball clubhouse that you make fun for them, and all the pressure goes away. Nobody's worried about what they're hitting. They could be hitting 195. They just love talking football with you. How much fun is it to see all those TVs filled up with college football on a Saturday?
Well, I love it. I mean, I know we're playing baseball, but it's still. It's not like it's a football season. Baseball should cut down the first of September.
Wow.
When they should cut it down.
Aren't most baseball players football fans? I feel like there's a lot of football fans there.
Yeah. They was watching the Vikings play Sunday.
Yeah, they look good.
Instead of watching the baseball game.
Well, it's a better game. So that's one way you make it fun is just being around there to talk football. What about if I asked you the hardest part of the job of working in a clubhouse over the years? What's been the hardest part for you?
Well, the hardest part is I'm used to seeing real baseball, but the game has changed in the last 10 years, and it makes me sad to a point that they have all these instant replays and balls and strikes. There's no more managers going out there and argue with the umpires.
Exactly.
Or ball players argue with the umpires. And
that's fun.
And that's the good part about it.
Yeah.
And the umpires, they do the best they can, but every play is instant replay, and you have a 2-1 game that lasts 3 hours. I mean, the fans don't mind those kind of games, but not for 3 or 4 hours. The kids can't watch the game. They go sleep. But that's what I miss.
Well, we were talking on the way over that replay, they have replay for everything. If you come off the bag on a slide by a half an inch, you would just like to see it just for home runs, right?
Yeah, and that ain't bad. And it's, not center field. Some balls that hit the center field.
Down for the foul poles.
Yeah, the foul poles, because it's hard to judge. Now, center field, if you hit it there, they don't know if it went over or bounced over or something like this. 500 feet to dead center field.
Yeah,
nobody
it's
can
a
hit
pole
it.
or something. Yeah, so that's a little annoying. Now you talk about we don't have very many arguments anymore. Gardy, of course, Ron Gardenhire, all these years, he knew how to go out there and get tossed and did it quite a bit.
Once he throws the hash down, he's out of the game.
That'll do it. Now, you have been ejected, right?
Yeah, but I wish you wouldn't bring that up.
That's awesome, man.
That's
I've been thrown out from rookie ball, AA, AAA. And about 5 years ago, I got thrown out in Seattle, Washington.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened there?
Koski, who's used to be with us, slid in the home plate in the 10th inning, and the umpire called him out. I said, and my shirt was up, so I did my shirt business.
Yeah.
And the umpire, I don't know, somebody said it was Joe West, somebody said it was somebody else. He threw me out of the game.
What was up now? What'd you do with your shirt? What'd you do?
Yeah, it was...
Oh yeah. Okay.
I can't tell you.
I got you. So you earned that one. That was and you were in the dugout for that.
Yeah,
right?
I was.
Yeah. When was the last time you were in the dugout watching the game?
I think the first year here.
Yeah.
But that was enough. I mean, I'm used to it.
Now you're back in the back doing the work, getting ready for when guys come in during the game. You talk with them.
Yeah.
How? Any other ejection stories? What do you think? I think you mentioned Jerry Lane. Did Jerry Lane run you?
Yeah, Jerry Lane threw me one
there?
time. I was in AA ball, and he kept throwing the ball out, and I kept putting the balls back in the game. And in the minor leagues, you only have so many balls. It ain't like it is now. We only have a dozen or two balls. So sure. I just rubbed the dirt off of it and threw it back in. So he called time, came over. He said, "Listen, Pipsqueak, if you throw another ball out, I'm going to run you." I said, "You can call me anything in the world. You can call me this, you can call me that. And by the way, if you ever get to the big leagues, I'll give you 30 minutes, draw a crowd, and I'll give you a big kiss." And about 2 years later, he tapped me. We was playing the exhibition game in Melbourne. somebody tapped me on the shoulder. It was Jerry Lane says, I made the big leagues. He owed me that kiss.
Oh, no.
That was been 20 years.
How about that? And he's still going? You still see him?
Going, yeah.
Yep.
Every time I see him, he's always said, I'm waiting for that kiss.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, I don't think he's going to get it. So, well, that's pretty good. Was there ever a time when, well, what do you think, was that your favorite ejection? Have there been others?
Well, the first one I ever got thrown out was...
How old would you have been then? You were real young?
Let's see, I had to be about 30, I guess.
Okay,
it was.
all right. So you've been in the game for a while.
Yeah, and a close play, and the manager said, "Well, you're not arguing with the umpire. I think, what did you say, for Al?" So I said, "Hey, you missed that play." He said, "You're out of the game." It was all set up. So the next day, I get a telegram from the league president, but it wasn't from the league president.
Sure.
Because I told him, I said, I forgot who it was, and I said, "This ain't from the league president." I know the league president. He says, how you know? I said, because you didn't sign it. I'll be bragging.
That's right. That's right. But that was a practical joke.
Yeah, it was a joke. Them days you could joke.
Oh, yeah. And, yeah, just the idea of bench jockeying comes to mind here. When you're on the bench, that's what it was, right? It was bench jockeying. It was guys in uniform or on the staff letting the umpires have it, letting the other pitcher have it, whatever, across the way. That's kind of gone away. So we had a little of that when the Rays came in the middle of July, and they had a bench clearing thing.
Yeah.
That was just a misunderstanding there with Escobar and Robertson, and Kevin Cash actually was yelling at Ryan Presley. But boy, that just doesn't happen. How much do you miss bench jockeying?
I miss a lot. Matter of fact, the best one I had was one of the umpires, Dave Edwards, I think, was getting on the umpire in Lodi in California. And he kept yelling, so the umpire came to the dugout and says, "Hey, Wayne, who was that yelling at me?" I said, "What do you mean? Who was that?" He said, "Somebody was yelling at me. Who was it?" I said, "I ain't going to tell on them guys. I got to sleep with these guys." So we argued about 10 or 15 minutes. So he said, "Somebody's got to go." I said, "Okay." Then he says, "You're gone, Wayne." And Stan Palazzo, who's one of our coaches in the minor league, says, "Are you happy that you threw Wayne out?" Says, "You want to go too? Whatever makes you happy." Then says, "You're gone too." And then I went and sat on third base for about at least 2 innings. I mean, we wasn't playing, but
yeah, you were in the stands.
No, I was sitting on third base. I went and sat on third base for about 20 minutes, and Harris said, "You better go, Wayne." I said, "I'm going to be fined $20. In the old days, we wasn't fined.
Yeah.
But this guy's different. He fine you. I said, "I ain't going nowheres." But then I got up and left.
Got your money's worth.
We're talking with a legend, as you can probably tell. Wayne, big fella Hattaway, the pride of Mobile, Alabama. Not a bigger Crimson Tide football fan out there, and an invaluable part of Twins baseball for the last 55 years, 66 years in organized ball, and still going, not going away. 78 wants to make it all the way to 80 at least, and keep going. Why not keep going? It keeps you young. How much does just being around these young guys with hopes and dreams and young athletes and joking and the banter, how much does that keep you going?
It keeps me going if I get on the guys. I mean, good, bad, ugly, but that kind of peps me up. We just had a catcher who was with us last year, and he got traded. Chris Jimenez.
Jimenez is back.
Yeah.
Yes. You guys have fun with each other.
Yeah. So when he came in and gave me a big hug, I said, "You made my day." I wasn't down, but you made it a little bit better.
Wow.
And so he got pinch hit for the other day, yesterday.
That's right, Mauer.
And I said, "I thought you was a hitter." "Yeah, I am." I said, "Damn, you could have hit the ball to shortstop. Wasn't nobody there anyway."
So you and Jimenez get on each other. Yeah, I can see that. He's been on this show before. They do the catching up with the catcher. Well, that reminds me of the shift. You're not a big fan of the shift, are you?
No.
Yeah. So if it were up to you, if somehow the analytics people, before they put on the shift, came to you and said, "Well, should we shift at all today for the Twins?" What would you say?
I'd say put them back to where they was. A shortstop is a shortstop. A third baseman's a third baseman. A left fielder is a left fielder. A center fielder is a center fielder. Right fielder is a right fielder. We don't need but 3 outfield double. They invented 3, not 4. That's softball.
And we're seeing more. The Twins lead baseball in the use of the 4-man outfield this year. I think I only remember one of those plays ending up in an out. Jose Ramirez couldn't believe what he was seeing. He lined out into the corner in right field. Twins also among the top 5, I think, in the use of the shift. And when you see that, is it annoying to you? Is it humorous to you? Is it? Do you ever try to pull Derek Falvey or Thad Levine or the other guys aside and put in your 2 cents?
No, I just say, well, we're in 3rd place.
Yeah.
We might as well be on the bottom. What's the deal? You ain't lost anything, so like you say, let them have their fun.
Do you think the shift is here to stay, or is it a fad? You've seen a few fads over the years.
I'm afraid to say, but I think it's here to stay.
Really?
I mean,
wow.
What it is what it is. I mean,
they have those computers.
When they have them meetings, major league meetings, they want something. So they got everything except the keys to the ballpark, and they got with the salary, they already got the keys. You came.
Yeah.
There's nobody. If you go 0 for 150, you still get a raise.
Well, that leads to my next question. But first, I just want to remind you, you're listening to Midwest Swing Pod, part of the Zone Coverage Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mike Berardino, along with Tom Schreier here on the controls and co-hosting. And we have Wayne Big Fella Hattaway, Twins clubhouse legend, here with us. And when you talk about modern-day baseball, and you still have a lot of fun with these guys, but what's been has the basic nature of a ball player, a pro ball player, changed much in the 66 years, or is a ball player still basically a big kid?
When I first got up here 15 years ago, I didn't know how to treat these guys, but the longer I stayed, the more I treat them guys just like minor leaguers, even though I kid along with them and stuff like that. And
they like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, nobody's ever I only had one guy that didn't dislike it. It was Danny Valencia.
Yeah.
And I
remember Danny Valencia.
Yeah, he came
He's
by.
a little sensitive, huh?
He came by and he said, "What's it take for you to not walk past my locker, get in the coach's room?" I said, "For you to get sent to AAA." And sooner than I got home, turned the TV on, and Bert Blyleven got a little note says, "Danny got sent to AAA." And it made the Kadir, all them guys happy as a pancake.
That was the Fun Bunch.
Yeah.
They did the Fun Bunch. Some of those guys now, they aged out of it. They went on and did Swarzak, grew up, had a nice career, Plouffe.
Yeah.
But Danny Valencia just recently, I think, was released again. He bounced around. He was released again, I believe. I don't think he got...
Look it up.
He said everybody loved him.
Yeah. Well, he was. I'm guessing he was not your favorite. I don't want you to volunteer any names you're not comfortable with. But was anybody all those years, maybe non-Twins, outright ugly to you, or like to the point where you have no use for that guy?
No, I mean, I got to say one thing about the Twins and the other organization. When I go see them, the White Sox, they love me to come over there. Mm-hmm. Tommy,
sure.
Tommy, I would go over there, talk to him and AJ and some of them ball players, Verlander, a couple of them guys.
Yeah.
And I'm going to work. I said, I got to get to work. Oh, just stay here and talk. We talked till they got it. And Charlie Manuel with the Phillies.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I've been knowing Charlie for about 40, 50 years.
That's right.
I go in there when the Phillies are playing, when he was managing Phillies, and Jack McKeon, I talk to them guys, and they forget all about batting practice. Their coaching staff come out, and we'll be talking. I say, well, ain't y'all going to hit? No, we don't need to hit today.
They'd rather just talk to you.
Right.
Yeah. Now, the fans can't see this because we're not video, keep asking for this, but you have, I would say, a luxurious mustache. Would you say? You're known as much for your hat and your stories as for the luxurious mustache. How many years you had the mustache?
I would say about 20.
That's it?
Before that, Mr. Griffith didn't like mustaches or beards or anything like long hair.
So Carl Pohlad bought the Twins in the mid-'80s, and that was when it was okay for you to grow it? Or did
just went by what the players. If the ball players come this way, I come that way.
All right. Well, we've seen a lot of facial hair trends through the years. Some of them more unfortunate than others. But you have patented this look, and I think it's a great look. How much time does it take you to prepare your mustache each day?
Well, I just comb it, and I don't even comb it. What you see is what you get.
Okay, all right. It just behaves.
Yeah.
It's just you're natural. Do you think? Could you imagine shaving it off?
I shaved it off one time in spring training. 3 days later, it grew back.
That's amazing.
I don't believe that, but I think that now if you were to do it, you could probably gain a lot of money for charity if you did have some sort of.
Matter of fact, Drew Patera, we had him.
Yes.
He said, "What's it take to? If I give you $100, will you shave it?"
$100? No, you got to do more than that.
Yeah, but I was Drew. That's not Sal. I said, and Sal is just as bad. He's just as cheap as Drew. So when I shaved it off, that was spring training.
Oh, wow.
He was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, "Where's the 100?" So I donated it to charity.
He did come through with it. Okay, yeah, he just got
good.
traded again. The Royals traded him to the Rockies. Yeah, Drew Butera. We've seen a lot of position players pitching lately this year, and Jimenez kind of got that going. What do you think of that trend?
I like it. Even when he came back over here, he says, "Are you coming to relieve, or are you going to play?" He's playing first base, catching.
Yeah.
I said, "Are you pitching today?" And guess what? He pitched.
Yeah, he sure did.
He pitched, and he hit a home run. The first time a catcher hit a home run since Jim Cott did in 1972. He's got a record, and they said on TV that when he pitched 6 years last year and one game this year, he tied a record. I don't know who the catcher was, back in 1865.
He's a legend as well, Chris Jimenez. So you're cool with that? That's no problem.
Yeah,
That's fun. Now again, anything that makes
We've had it done.
Butera did it. Drew Butera might have the best
Don
arm of all.
Zimmer did that in the 50s. He did it. We didn't have nobody else.
So that's a thing. Everything in baseball goes away, it comes back like anything else. That's a thing that's come back, and that's okay because it gets you through the day. I'm gonna play a little word association, and then we're gonna let you go. This has been a pleasure. And Tom, do you have a particular question that's popping to mind?
Not yet. We've talked quite a bit. I know a lot of things, especially about your takes on football.
He's not bashful with that at all.
No, he runs around. Remember Dan Myers used to scream War Eagle at you?
Hey, big fella, you might know this. Do you know what is the current minimum salary at Alabama football now?
I've heard that a lot of times. But we had a pitcher. I think he's pitched he did pitch for us, but he's pitching.
Yeah.
He pitched out of Tennessee, and he had a kid about 5 years old. I said, "How would you like to make $1 million?" I said, his dad said, "What do you mean?" In about 10 years, I'm going to have him go to Alabama. He can get $1 million. Oh, no, he's going to Tennessee. I said, when it comes to $1 million, you get that much in Tennessee?
No, I don't think there is a salary cap at Alabama. So a little word association here. The Yankees are in town the next 3 days, and of course you were around you're still traveling a lot of those big postseason series, right? So when I
used to, but
but when I
we ain't been there.
No,
30 years.
No, just the one last year.
And that didn't last but one inning.
One inning, yeah.
And I went back to the house quicker than they stayed on the field.
That's the nature of the wild card. But when I say Yankees to you, when I say the word Yankees, what pops to mind?
Us getting on the plane, being searched, for weapons. I said, we just got beat 12-0. Why would we want to kill us when we just got killed by the Yankees 12-0?
Oh, my God.
45 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm sure the TSA people enjoy that. Derek Jeter.
Well, he's doing something that we're doing. He got rid of all them players.
Yeah. Marlins.
He thinks that they're going to come back. Not the players coming back, but
the Marlins,
the minor leagues. It's taken us 20 years to get back to a major league, and he thinks he's going to do it in 5. We're still on the billing. I hate to say it, but we got a long ways to go.
Yep. Tom Kelly.
I've known Tom Kelly for close to 50 years, maybe more.
That's right.
I had him as a roommate, as a player.
A roommate?
Yeah, I had him.
How was that?
I was in Melbourne. Him and me and the bus driver and anybody else they want to throw in there. We wake up. We go to bed with 5 people. We wake up the next morning with 5 different people.
In Melbourne, yeah. And TK, Was he a snorer, or was he a good roommate, or what?
I don't know. Well, at least he came in early.
That's right. Oh yeah, he was all baseball.
Some managers I knew don't come in at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, well,
in the old days.
Yes. Well, that's carousing, as they used to call it. Torrey Hunter.
Well, Torrey, I've been knowing him since the day we signed. And I remember I went out to watch rookie ball.
That's right.
He struck out and threw the bat in the stands. Almost hit a 90-year-old lady. So I called him over there and said, Torrey, you can't do that. I'm going to tell your mother. Torrey said, you wouldn't tell her. So she came in about 2 days later to see Torrey. And he introduced me. Oh, this is my mother. Oh, hi. Yeah, I need to talk to you, Miss Hunter.
Wow.
You know what your son did yesterday? Well, he threw the bat in the stand, almost killed. And boy, she let into him. Don't do that no more. And then the next year he went to the Miracles. That's the A-team.
Yeah.
He crashed a seat or something doing so. And Al Newman, who was the manager, told me about that. I said, Torrey, didn't you learn anything from me last year about this? You want me to go tell your mother again? No, you wouldn't. Yes, you would tell her. I said, no, I won't tell her this time.
Wow.
But I've been knowing Torrey for 30 years.
Great relationship.
And he introduced me to Trout.
Mike Trout,
yes. I said, we had a Trout about 30 years ago. Yeah, that's my dad.
That's right.
And I said,
Jeff, I believe.
I said, Jeff, what are you hitting? 375. I said, you know what your daddy hit when I was with me? No, what was? I said about 240. So he couldn't wait to get on that phone that I have. Hey, some guy told me you hit 240. I know who that is. That's Wayne.
Wow.
She's still alive. I told Jeff, I said, who is your batting coach, your mother? How'd you know? I said, it wasn't your dad.
Wow.
Yikes.
I think that's the perfect place to stop this. Leave it for now, because these are great stories. Thank you so much, Wayne, for coming by. We always love talking around the clubhouse with you. And I said, we're doing a podcast. When Tom said we're going to do this a little differently, I said we're gonna bring the big fella in the studio and just talk baseball. And this was such a pleasure. You've been listening to Wayne Big Fella Hattaway, Twins clubhouse legend and director of team morale. For Tom Schreier, this is Mike Berardino, thanking you for listening once again to Midwest Swing Podcast, part of the Zone Coverage Podcast Network. Please download our podcast on iTunes or any of your favorite podcast apps. Please leave a review, and we will see you next week.